Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we have another premiere draft of Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. And let's just get into this. Here we have our rare is a dual land, a man land. A land that turns itself into a creature. And this one is probably the best one, in my opinion. It turns itself into a 3/4 flyer till end of turn. So if you're ever flooded out, this gives you an evasive threat to try to close out the game with, and I am a pretty big fan of all of the man lands in general. Just mana bases that can double as decent creatures in the late game. Anything that helps mitigate flood, I'm a pretty big fan of, so I like Cave of the Frost Dragon a lot here. Other than that, not a lot going on in this pack. I don't love taking dual-colored cards early on. And Shesra, while she does have a powerful ability, only being a 1/3 for 4 mana, can put you behind in a matchup where your opponent's aggressive and they're curving out well. So I don't love that card. Other than that, there's just like some pretty good aggressive cards like the Hobgoblin Captain there. We'll see what we have in pack 2 here. We do have Minsk, Beloved Ranger, red, green, white for a 3/3. When they enter the battlefield, create a 1/1 red hamster with trample and haste, and for X mana until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other types. This is a really, really good activated ability. It's a little difficult to cast Minsk, but you can always use treasure tokens to help, even if you're in just a 2-color deck like your white-red or green-white. And I do think that this is a powerful enough activated ability that it's definitely worth the difficult mana cost, because all of a sudden you just start making your 1/1 goblin token a big enough creature that it bashes them for like 4 or forces them into a bad trade. So a really, really nice mana sink ability. I think I'm going to try out Minsk Beloved Ranger here. See if we can't cast them off some treasure tokens. What do we have? Pick 3. Not much at all. I think in pretty much any color here. I guess Hill Giant Herd Gorgers is always fine at the top end of the curve. A 7/6 that gains you some life when it comes into play is a really good tool to help stabilize and then take over the game just by being a massive attacker. Valor Singer's pretty nice on curve. 3 mana for a 2/3, but it attacks as a 3/3, or it puts that +1 power wherever you need it during combat. Planar Ally is solid, but a bit slow. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer whenever it attacks if entered into the dungeon. So, pretty nice in a board stall where there's no evasive creatures and you just get that on the board. I guess Hamapashar is decent as well if you go for a heavy venture deck. Yeah, nothing in here is that insane. I can just go for Hamapashar, and then it's possible we end up in white-blue. It's possible we end up in red-white or green-white. Any of that. But we're probably white with Cave of the Frost Dragon and then 2 white cards afterwards. But I highly doubt we're in a deck that uses Minsk and Hama in the same deck. So pick 4. We have another Shesra. Already spoken my piece on her. Not a huge fan. Air Cult Elemental in blue, Underdark Basilisk in green. Not much going on here either. Do kind of like the Basilisks. Just 2 mana, 1/2 Death Touchers. Trade up into literally anything. And if nothing else, your 2-drop creature trades with their 2-drop creature. Just trade it into their 2/2 Lifelinker or their 3/1 or whatever they're bashing you with. I'll just scoop up the Basilisk there. Not a huge fan of that pack as a whole. We do have a Cloister Gargoyle here. This is going to work really well with our Hamapashar Ruin Seeker. So whenever we're venturing into the dungeon, we get those abilities twice. So Cloister Gargoyle is going to let us venture into the dungeon, trigger a room ability. So it just seems like it'll work well in a deck with Hamapashar. It's a 0/4 in the early game, and if we complete a dungeon, it's a 3/4 flyer for 3. So pretty solid there. I do like Contact Other Plane, pretty decent draw spell. I used a ton of those in my last deck, my blue-red dice rolling deck. That was a lot of fun. I think it's just a solid card in general. Or we have like a Valor Singer for an attacking creature, a Direwolf Prowler or something. I think I just like the Cloister Gargoyle here. Another Valor Singer. These things are everywhere. A Manticore. But we're pretty far from black. We've got like every other color represented right now, and Manticore isn't a huge reason to be in black. It's just fine, just a solid card. I guess we could take a Spiked Pit Trap here because we are pretty multicolored right now. We're not really committed to any color scheme, and Spiked Pit Trap is a mediocre removal spell, but a removal spell you can play in any deck because it's completely colorless. So I think I like it for that because none of the colored cards here are all that powerful, so we can still just be nice and open, take a Spiked Pit Trap, and whatever colors we end up in, that can go into the deck if need be. Ooh. Wow, this is going to be a really difficult pick. This is pretty late to see a Dragon's Fire, I think. Pick 7 here. 2 mana for 3 damage to something at instant speed is really good, and this might even be more if you have dragons in your deck. Ray of Frost is also really good for only 2 mana. Throw it on a tapped creature and keep it tapped forever. If you're playing against red, it even taps the creature when you play it. Veteran Dungeoneer is great with Hama Pashar, but that does tend to go a little later in the packs, but it's also a great card. It's definitely between these 3. I think I'm going to take Ray of Frost. I do really want to try out Hama Pashar here. Because now we have Hama Pashar and Cloister Gargoyle both leaning into the white-blue color scheme being more likely. But you could definitely not go wrong with the Dragon's Flame and then going for the red-white with Minsk here. So now we have a bunch of blue cards, or a few blue cards, which I'm definitely happy to see here. I'd be really sad if I saw like another Dragon's Flame or something. I think I'll just take a Soul Knife Spy. Definitely at its best in blue-black, because blue-black has cards like Krydle that can give your creatures unblockable, so this can definitely get in and draw a card. But in any deck with blue in it, if you're just tapping down your opponent's creatures or removing them naturally, you can potentially get 1 or 2 draws out of the Soul Knife Spy, and if you get even just 1 card drawn off Soul Knife Spy, it's doing a very good job. So Hobgoblin Captain's a great aggressive creature. Hexblades, whatever. Arcane Investigators, whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to like hardcore commit to blue-white here because of the fact that those blue-white cards are very, very filler, very mediocre, like last pick kind of cards. Whereas the Hobgoblin Captain, I feel, is a much higher pick for aggressive red decks because it can really get in with that first strike ability if you get pack tactics. So here I'm definitely taking Contact Other Plane. Did already speak my piece on the card. I think it's just a great draw spell, period, but it's absolutely exceptional in blue-red dice rolling. Bar the Gate seems good in a deck that's trying to venture into the dungeon a lot, and we will be trying to do that with Hama Pashar. This might be the one deck where I actually might try running some counter spells. Not the kind of thing I do often, but we might do it here. Wow, real late Contact Other Plane here. Seeing a lot of blue stuff in general. So I think blue-white is looking pretty open. So, I don't love Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Really need a way to cast this twice to win the game with it, because there's no other mill in the format. This mill's around 10 to 15 cards-ish. I think that's like the average of what I've seen from it. So you need to cast it twice to win the game. I do like Blue Dragon, although it is a lot of mana, but like a 5/5 flyer, even if the ETB effect doesn't do anything permanently, it just kind of weakens creatures temporarily. That's just a big game ender. So I do like Blue Dragon here. Arborea Pegasus is definitely a great flyer for aggressive decks because it throws one of your early creatures into the sky and then gives you a permanent flyer after that, just the 2/3 chipping in. It is really good with Soul Knife Spy. If we go Soul Knife Spy turn 3 into Pegasus turn 4, that could be great. But again, Blue Dragon I think is just such a high impact card on the game, and we're already in a color scheme that I think would lend itself well to kind of a slower deck. So I'm going to go with the Blue Dragon there. Here I think I'm going to go with Eccentric Apprentice, 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer that ventures into the dungeon when we play it. Just the kind of thing I'm trying to do with this deck, with Cloister Gargoyle wanting us to complete dungeons, Hama Pashar wanting us to venture into them. Priest of Ancient Lore is just generally a great card, a great value spell, but again, I think I'm going to take the Synergy card here, go with the Eccentric Apprentice, lean more into like a blue-white flyer / venture deck here. Yeah, I'm pretty sold on that. But the Priest of Ancient Lore is also great. Do we have any removal yet? We have a Spiked Pit Trap and a Ray of Frost, so we're doing okay on removal. We also have Bar the Gate as a counterspell. Yeah, for this early in the draft, I think we're doing pretty fine on removal, so I don't need Charmed Sleep that heavily here, but it would be a fine pick. I think I'm going to go with Steadfast Paladin here. It's just a great 2-drop in this format. A lot of decks tend to be somewhat aggressive at least, and this is great against aggressive decks or in aggressive decks. Either way, really. 2 mana, 2/2 lifelinker there. Really helps win races. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Steadfast Paladin. Ooh, I really like Displacer Beast for this deck, but we do see another Steadfast Paladin, which is great. I think I am going to take Displacer Beast over it, though. 3 mana for a 3/2 that ventures when it enters the battlefield. So just really doing what we want to do. There's also Evolving Wilds, and some mana fixing would be nice. We have a lot of double blue costs late in the game. But we'll go with the Displacer Beast for now. Our deck is looking really heavily blue. So we probably won't have any mana issues if we just play, 10 islands, 7 plains, something like that. Just have a really heavy blue split. And I think this draft pot in general, blue's just pretty open, because now here we get another blue dragon. And I'll scoop it right up. These white 2-drops are fine, but we want to be really aggressive for Dwarfhold Champion. I don't feel like we are. Dawnbringer Cleric, though, is a card I might actually play in here. Main deckable Enchantment Hate is solid. Worst case scenario, it's a 2 mana 1/3 that gains a couple life, which is definitely really good at blocking in the early game. Just a 1/3 to block their 2/2s and give you a little life gain to stem the bleeding. I do like that. So Shortcut Seeker is a big old 2/5 for 4, so it can block things well, and if it hits our opponent, we venture deeper into the dungeon. We definitely want to venture into the dungeon. It's between that and Ranger's Hawk. I think both of these are fine ways to venture into the dungeon, but definitely not consistent ways to do so. So I think I'd prefer Shortcut Seeker just because we're so heavy into blue now. It's possible if I draft just enough blue cards, I could go absolutely just mono blue with this deck. I don't think it's likely, but I think it would be pretty funny. And I do like going monocolored in draft every now and then, and I don't feel like it happens particularly often. That being said, I'm not going to take a Bar the Gate over an Arborea Pegasus, because Arborea Pegasus is just such a great card, and such a fantastic combo with now Soul Knife Spy and Shortcut Seeker. So, we're almost definitely playing blue-white, but I'm kind of a dork, so I really like leaving us open to the possibility of being mono blue and taking blue cards over white when I can. But when the difference in power level is so high, of the Arborea Pegasus just being one of my favorite common creatures in white, I'm always just going to go for the Arborea Pegasus in those situations. So, I mean, Spiked Pit Trap wouldn't be the worst here, but I love Contact Other Plane. This would be my 3rd copy, though. But, you know what? If nobody else wants to draw cards, I'll just draw enough cards for the entire draft pod. And for the same reason, I could take a Bag of Holding here. It's a great mana sink in the late game, but you do have to stabilize and have the extra mana to use it, which is a bit of a hard sell when you're getting beaten down by an aggressive deck. But in the right matchup, Bag of Holding absolutely slaps. Unfortunately, this is best of 1, so it's not like I can sideboard it in and out. So we'll see. I guess it just really depends how many just generally good cards I end up with in blue-white. If I end up having to put some mid-range filler stuff in at the end, I'll throw the Bag of Holding in here. Alright, well. On color rare, we can try it out. Never played this card before, but it potentially gives you a lot of value. You would have to level it up quite a bit before you do. So if you're casting more than 1 spell in a turn, this will make the 2nd spell cost 1 less to cast. After you level it up to level 2, you bounce one of your opponent's permanents. And then on the 3rd level, whenever you're casting your 2nd card of the turn, actually whenever you cast your 1st spell of the turn, okay, so you exile the top card of your library, and you can cast it as long as you've cast another spell this turn. So you exile the top card of your library, all you have to do is cast 1 spell, and then you cast that card as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try it out regardless. That seems pretty solid. Potentially drawing you an extra card every turn as long as you can keep up, casting extra spells every turn. I guess the weird thing about this, though, is that it's in blue-white, which are like slower colors, going for the venture kind of theme. And especially in our deck, because now we're going to have a white dragon and 2 blue dragons. We're going to be a real slow deck here, to where it might be really hard for us to cast 2 spells in a turn late game. You know, like we might have a white dragon in hand, and then we exile a card off Monk class, and it's like, I don't know, contact other plane or something. We have to have 10 mana up to cast both those spells, so Monk class might be a little bit of a hard sell for us, but probably still try it. And I'm definitely taking white dragon out of this pack. This card's great. A 4/4 flyer that taps one of our opponent's creatures, keeps it tapped for an additional turn as well. It's just a solid card in general. Here I'll take another removal spell, the Ray of Frost, although I like the Genie Windseer as well. I just have a lot going on at 4 mana. I already have 2 Pegasus kind of filling up the flyer slot there, and I have 3 Contact Other Plane because I love drawing cards, so I think we have a lot to do there. We don't have a lot of removal yet, so I'm going to take another Ray of Frost. I am tempted to Contact Other Plane, but we could use more 1-drops now that we have a Monk class in here. Just 1 mana cards help a lot with that. And this is one that also seconds as, or doubles as, a late game way to keep venturing into the dungeon. We do have to have extra creatures to do that, but if we're venturing into the dungeons a lot, we could get little 1/1 goblin tokens off the Lost Mine of Phandelver and use those to help our Ranger's Hawk out. I don't love Split the Party. It always feels like a bit too much mana for what you're getting. And I already have 3 Contact Other Plane, and if I want the 4th, this will probably wheel. So we're going to Ranger's Hawk there. And, you know, I'm fine with the Delver's Torch. It's another somewhat cheap card here, 1 or 2 mana card. Does cost 3 to equip, so quite a bit to equip, but once you do, you are venturing every time you attack with equipped creature. Can definitely help delve your way through the dungeons. We're doing okay on removal here. I could probably use like 1 more Spiked Pit Trap, but it's not a big deal at this point. Aberrant Mind Sorcerer lets us pick up an instant or sorcery from our grave. What do we even have to pick up? Contact Other Planes to draw more cards. We have a counter spell. Not a lot. Not a lot for the Mind Sorcerer, so I don't love it here. Probably just take another Shortcut Seeker, I guess. Ooh, Wizard Spellbook again. Nobody likes the Wizard Spellbook. I think I first picked that one in the last draft, which is probably going a little deep on it, but this is a slower deck. This could use a Spellbook. Although we only have 5 instants in the deck, might be a little bit of a hard sell. Yeah, we already have some really expensive stuff too. I am going to take the Charmed Sleep over it here, mainly because literally the last deck I drafted used the Spellbook, and we have a Monk class here, and Monk class with a ton of 6 and 7 mana cards already. Already pretty difficult to do, but exceptionally hard to do if we have another 7 mana card in the deck, so got to take the cheaper removal spell there, the Charmed Sleep, and now we'll take the cheap creature, the Ranger's Hawk. Just get our curve a lot lower for our Monk class to do things. Kind of like another Soul Knife Spy here to go with our Pegasus, or our Pegasi, I should say. But Scion of Stygia is nice as well, tapping a creature down for 1 to 2 turns. Now I'll take the Soul Knife Spy there. And I do like Secret Door for this deck. It's another cheap card for the Monk class. It's a good blocker in the early game. And late game, it gives us a mana sink to dig our way through the dungeons. And the final picks are a bunch of cards that I don't particularly like playing. All right. Let's see how this goes. We only have 1 legendary in the deck, so we're not going to use the Dungeon Descent, but I mean, getting that with only as like second to last pick is kind of cute, kind of cool, but we don't have the legendaries to use it. All right, we got to cut 10 cards out of here. The only thing I like about Pixie Guide in this deck... Where did it go? Oh, it went to my 4 mana slot somehow. The only thing I like about Pixie Guide in this deck is that it's a 2 mana, 3 toughness blocker. It's also flying, so it just blocks well. That's like the only reason I like it here. Sure, it combos with Contact Other Plane, but I'm pretty sure that's literally the only card in the deck that rolls dice. I guess Spiked Pit Trap, but we don't have anything that we really, really need to be rolling dice for, so it's not giving us a huge buff. Everything at 3 mana does something when it comes into play except our Soul Knife Spies. And I guess Hama Pashar, but they double up our other enter the battlefield effects of the Apprentice, the Displacer Beast, and the Cloister Gargoyle. So I guess the Soul Knife Spies are moderately iffy. I guess the Air Cult Elementals, we should definitely lower down our curve with Monk class in the deck, and then we could cut Sudden Insight as well. Yeah, this is potentially like a big draw spell in the late game, but it's only in the very late game when you have a bunch of stuff in your graveyard. Often by turn 6, you might not even have, 3 cards in grave. You might just have 2, and 6 mana to draw 2 cards is real bad. Especially when we have 3 Contact Other Planes. Yeah, Sudden Insight is not doing it for me. And the Air Cult Elementals, we just have bigger flyers that have good enter the battlefield effects. We have 2 blue dragons and a white dragon, so we can take out all 3 of those Air Cult Elementals here. Bag of Holding, I think we have card draw covered with Contact Other Plane, although I do like the fact that this is 1 mana, so it helps with the Monk class for casting 2 spells in a turn for level 3. But, I think I'm doing pretty solid on card draw. 5 cards to cut still. The one deck where I might actually play Bar the Gate, am I going to end up cutting Bar the Gate? Like, yeah, I mean, just because I'm venturing into the dungeons, but we have enough creatures in here that I'm probably spending a lot of mana at sorcery speed. I'm also definitely leveling up at sorcery speed because that's the only time you can. And if I'm spending all my mana at sorcery speed, I can't hold up a counterspell. So we'll cut the Bar the Gate here, I suppose. We have 18 creatures here. Seems like a lot for this deck. We can probably cut some of them. And I would say probably some of the ones at 3 mana, so maybe we are cutting the Soul Knife Spies just because our only way to use them is our Arborea Pegasus. But the turn 3, turn 4 curve is so tempting with those 2. Do we just cut the Shortcut Seekers instead and hope to use the Pegasi with the Soul Knife Spy exclusively? It's possible. Once we hit 4 mana, that's when we can also start casting our Contact Other Planes. So we'll have a lot of stuff we're doing at 4 mana. Yeah, we could cut the 2 Shortcut Seekers, I suppose. I like Pixie Guide here because we just have so little at 2 mana. Plus, Delver's Torch having multiple cheap flyers is definitely good for this. So now we can throw that onto a Ranger's Hawk or a Pixie Guide or Eccentric Apprentice. Cloister Gargoyle, even if that gets into the sky. 2 more cards to cut. I definitely want 17 lands here because we have a 6-drop and 2 7-drops. This feels so bad, but am I just cutting Soul Knife Spies? We're pretty low on removal. We just have Pit Trap, 2 Ray of Frost, and Charmed Sleep, so I don't think we cut any of those. Maybe we cut the Torch itself. Because we can still venture. We venture when all 3 of these enter the battlefield. This one we can keep bouncing and recasting if we get late game to venture more. Secret Doors give us a mana sink to venture. Ranger's Hawk potentially gives us a mana sink to venture, but it's harder to do since we need 2 creatures out. And we need to tap both. Yeah, I guess we can cut Delver's Torch here, and then we just need 1 more cut. We could cut 1 of the Soul Knife Spies, and then I can still live the dream of Soul Knife Spy into Arborea Pegasus now and then, but I also get to lower my 3 drops down a bit. Sure, we'll cut it in the middle there. Go down to the 1 Soul Knife Spy, and here is the 40 we'll be running. Seems solid to me. Let's get into the games here and see how this deck actually operates in practice. Alright, round 1, let's go. We do have a 2-drop, which is surprising, because I only managed to draft like 2 of them. 2-drop creatures, that is. Yeah, this is a better curve than I think most of our hands will be able to get. 2, 3, 4. We even have the Pixie Guide on board when we cast our Contact Other Plane. Make it more likely we get a scry out of it. So I feel like this is the kind of deck that's going to want to go into the Lost Mine of Fandelver. I don't think we venture, or I don't think we're aggressive enough to want to go into the Tomb of Annihilation. But I also feel like we don't venture enough to get all the way through the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and we definitely want to complete dungeons for cards like Cloister Gargoyle here. So I guess Displacer Beast is the play here. So we'll have a 3-2 on the board. We're against blue-black. Blue-black tends to play a bunch of small creatures that that can get through unblockably. Maybe we do go aggressive here and just go into the Tomb of Annihilation. Yeah, I mean, we're drawing cards off like Contact Other Planes, so we have like Scry and stuff that way. I do kind of like getting the treasure token from the Lost Mine, though, for the blue dragon. Yeah, no, I mean, we're not curving out that insane. I think we go for the Lost Mine of Fandelver here. Arborea Pegasus? Alright, well, I guess we are curving out that insane. I guess all the Pegasus does here is add 1 more damage. Because I already have a flyer blocker anyways. It's not like it's getting damage through that wouldn't have got through otherwise. But I still like playing it here, because I like putting more power on this board. I do like drawing cards with the other plane, but I definitely don't like going for Cloister Gargoyle here, because it's not going to block anything. We're just going to get a treasure token. Gets us closer to Blue Dragon, but we're still far enough that we don't need the treasure token in the near future. Yeah, I think I might as well get just 1 extra point of damage out of this Arborea Pegasus. Enter the battlefield effect here. Attack for 4 instead of 3. Genie Windseer, 3-3 and they scry. 3-3 flyer, I should specify. One to the top and 1 to the bottom for our opponent. Ooh, a monk class, and we can level it up immediately and bounce one of their cards. so that we can just attack all this turn. They'll get to scry again, but they'll have to tap out again, so I think it's worth it. Just level 2 this monk class here. Slam in, we get 3 damage in. Or 4 damage in, I should say. They block the Pegasus and take 4. They can't block and kill any of the creatures. And they're not going to want to chump block, so... yeah, that's what I would expect. They go down to 12 now. They probably just recast the Genie Windseer unless whatever they scried to the top last turn was something that they want to play now. We will see. I can't get over how good this board is. It's so beautiful. All the gold and gems, the little treasure chest here, and the sleeping dragon. It's just some great stuff. Of course, the background is beautiful as well, with the dragons on each side of the board. Alright, Yuan-Ti Fangblade, a 2/2 Death Toucher. When it deals combat damage to a player, they venture into the dungeon. We could level it up again to start exiling the top card of our library every upkeep, and then potentially be casting it. But I think I would rather play some cards here. They only have 1 flying blocker here, so we just attack all again. And then just draw some cards. Yeah. We trade for this Fangblade. And if they don't block, they're getting pretty low. But yeah, I'll definitely trade my 3/2 for their 2/2 Death Touch here. Because that also has a good ability if it ever hits me, and Death Touch is just a good ability on blocks, period. Okay, so we have 5 mana now, so if I get a treasure token off the Cloister Gargoyle, then if I hit a land next turn, I can cast Blue Dragon. Because I'll have 6 mana on board now, and then if I draw another land, there's the 7th. I could also just contact other plane here and try to draw more lands, but I've already played my land for this turn. So then I'd be 2 turns away from Blue Dragon no matter what. I'll go for the Cloister Gargoyle play. And we're not guaranteed to get another land here, but if we do, it will be fantastic. And if we don't draw another land next turn, it's not like we were going to cast Blue Dragon next turn if we played Contact Other Plane instead. We would just have other cards to play next turn. Because we'd only have 6 mana out. Instead of 7. Again, just because 1 land per turn, we'd have 5 mana out right now, play the 6th next turn. So there's the Genie Windseer again. The flying blocker is back. If we get a Blue Dragon down, we can make that a 0/3 blocker for a turn. Ooh, and we do get the Blue Dragon down. That being said, it's not going to get any attacks in right now for us, but it is going to be a 5/5 flyer to start bashing in with. So yeah, I mean, we attack with both of these, they just block, it doesn't matter, we don't kill anything. But next turn, we start attacking with that Blue Dragon. Unless they blow it up, then we do not. We're halfway through the Lost Mine, so we'll need to venture 2 more times to give our Cloister Gargoyle +3 power and flying. Probably pretty far from doing that. I think I'll be contacting other plane next turn. I don't really want to do the setup of the Monk class, because I don't know, this card just feels so risky for our deck, because like it could easily just exile our other Blue Dragon, and we're never casting that if it's exiled. For as long as it remains exiled, you may cast it from exile as long as you've cast another spell this turn. I guess if I draw into like one of my 1-mana Hawks, I can even cast a blue dragon from exile eventually. I'm definitely going to contact that they're playing, but then if I do hit another mana, I guess I'll level up the Monk class, overplay the Soul Knife Spy. And then I can potentially just cast the Soul Knife Spy to cast whatever's exiled. Ooh. Well, did not hit a land here, but these are good draws, because if I play a Ranger's Hawk down, then next turn I can play Hama Pashar, and then when I venture with the Ranger's Hawk, we double venture, so we get through the Lost Mine. Cloister Gargoyle's active then. Plus, I mean, I guess we don't double venture. It's not venture abilities, it's room abilities. But playing the Ranger's Hawk gets us closer to making it through the dungeon. So we would double Dark Pool or double Fungi Cavern? Probably double Dark Pool's better for us here. We can make both their flyers 0 power till our next turn, but we still don't attack in for... We attack in for 1 damage, so we get more damage in by just using Dark Pools twice. Uh-oh. Well, Black Dragon it is. There goes Arborea Pegasus, I'm guessing. But maybe the Ranger's Hawk. Nope. There goes Arborea Pegasus. Well, that is not great for us, but I don't believe we've drawn any. Yeah, we haven't drawn any removal yet, and we do have a good bit in our deck. So Charm, Sleep, Ray of Frost, all that stuff, we've got answers to the Black Dragon, so I shouldn't be too scared right now. I suppose for now I can just shut off its power. I think I will go for that here. Definitely want to get farther into the dungeon. And we get to stop all their aggression here for a turn. Give us more time. Get our 7th mana for Blue Dragon. And then we have the Supreme Dragon, the biggest dragon on board again. Rime Shield Frost Giant, a big old 4/5 with Ward 3. So it's hard to target, and it's a large creature. Here's our Blue Dragon. I could draw 2 cards and make Cloister Gargoyle a 3/4 flyer here. I'd rather do that than play the Blue Dragon right now. I don't think so. Just make all their flyers weak here. And they do have a man land. This one becomes a big old 7/7. Alright, well that's actually that's a terrifying land. That might be better than... Well, that's better than my land on this board. Mine is the one that turns into a 3/4 flyer, and our opponent does have a lot of flying creatures. But yeah, 7/7 is pretty devastating. There's a lot of good Death Touch in the format, though. Yonsei Fangblade, Underdark Basilisk. But definitely great against our deck. Just making a giant 7/7. Alright, yep. This is pretty devastating. They get to have one of their lands basically trade for our flying dragon if I double block. And then we again need to find an out to the black dragon that they have. We're at 17 life here though, so I think I have to just make this trade. Trade our blue dragon into the hall. We're not going to kill that any other way. And we can't chump block it forever. We don't have any consistent way to make any tokens or anything special like that. Alright, secret door. Alright, that is such a better way to venture right now. Oh yeah, now we don't have to tap a creature down to do it. I love that. Ooh, I drew a white card there with my 1 mana. But yeah, now I've got a 3/4 up, the 1/1 flyer. We can double block a 3/4 and 1/1 onto the black dragon. Oh yeah, this is looking spicy. Speed run through some dungeons with Hamapashar and Secret Door together. Sepulchre Ghoul from our opponent doesn't do much on this board state. Turns into a 4/3 at biggest by sacrificing a creature, and none of their other creatures are that expendable. I guess Pixie Guide being the most expendable here. Charmed Sleep on the Cloister Gargoyle. Not great for us. Yeah, no, these 4/4s and 4/5s are still real bad. And now with Cloister Gargoyle tapped, we can't block the Genie Windseer well either. Take like 11 damage here, that's pretty brutal. We don't have any good blocks whatsoever. Soak it up. Eight mana. It's 3 mana to use this, 3, and then I'll have 5 left. With 5 mana left, I can play Pegasus and Paladin, because our second spell each turn costs 1 less. Could venture once. So I could gain 2 life, I could scry 1 twice, I could have each player lose 2 life. I don't think any of those are worth it right now for the 5 mana, we just need to get more creatures on this board. So Arborea Pegasus plus Steadfast Paladin seems the best, because then I have another flyer again. And then I have a lifelinker on the ground as a great trump blocker. Although I won't be hitting our opponent for anything here. Well, I guess it's basically impossible. I'm going to block with Hamapashar, so I might as well get the damage in there. Especially because our opponent is at 11. That is actually somewhat low. Put him down to 8 by doing this attack. We'll play our Steadfast Paladin and shoot on up the Monk class to level 3 here. Deadly Dispute, sacrifice the ghoul and draw a couple more cards. Can draw them into some more flyers, that would be really bad. Any removal would be pretty devastating for us as well. We're at 6 and they're at 8. Our board's a little bit wide, but not that bad. They have to think a little bit about a crackback. Like, just think a little bit about our retaliation. But not that hard. I think they can just slam all attack here and be pretty fine. We only have... I mean, we do have 8 power on the board, but... if they slam all attack, we will have to make some chumps, and we will no longer have enough damage to crack back for lethal. Oh dear. Now the 4/5 ward creatures in the sky as well. That is incredibly devastating. think I can double block to kill the Windseer, and then block one more creature and go to 1 life. Yeah, I can't block anything with my ground creatures anymore. Oh my god. Yeah, that's horrendous now, because now we can't go for a double block. All we can do are chumps, and we have to do at least 2 chump blocks to survive. Choose Pixie Guide, interesting. But yeah, I mean, with only 2 flyers out, this just forces us into 2 chump blocks regardless. So I guess that's the most expensive flyer to recast without getting any ETB effect off of it, without getting a value effect off of it. Playing it real safe here, going over all the options, making sure to think over this, but yeah, this is very much forced blocks here. Our next card is just a contact other plane. We have a spiked pit trap to kill 1, but the whole field's flying. We have 1 flyer. We're incredibly dead. Go to 4 life, send out 1 flyer, kill 1 of their flyers. So chump block there, kill that, take 4. I'm sorry, take 6. Forgot about the 2/5 flyer they played this turn as well. Brutal stuff there. Alright. Got a ton of mana here, but that's what I like to see. We've got a gigantic dragons late game. Ooh, Lair of the Hydra versus Cave of the Frost Dragon. I am actually very scared to see Bag of Holding. Bag of Holding is pretty good against us. We are not aggressive. Yeah, Bag of Holding is actually really good against us. Playing against a blue-green ramp deck, most likely. There's a Lurking Roper on turn 3, a 4/5 that doesn't untap unless they gain life. But there are a lot of ways to gain life. And even if it doesn't untap, it's a 4/5 blocker for 3. Sylvan Shepherd here, which is an incredible combo with the Lurking Roper. Now every time it attacks, it untaps the Roper, and those things will just keep getting in there together. Scry 2, draw 2 here. Already got good mana. We've got 6 lands already. We only need 1 more for Blue Dragons, so get rid of that land, see what we get. There's the 7th land. We also have White Dragon here, but the Roper's still going to untap past all of these cards, so they don't help against that. The Ray of Frosts don't work on anything that isn't already tapped. So these don't work against the Vigilance creature, and they don't work against the Roper, because the Roper already doesn't untap. I think we might just get absolutely played here, because our removals are blanks against this deck, and we haven't drawn any non-removal early game spells. Yeah, so we're just going to get slammed here. I guess White Dragon taps down Sylvan Shepherd, and then Ray of Frost keeps it tapped forever. If we use those together. It's possible because they're stuck on mana here. Maybe just White Dragon into Blue Dragon is enough flying power to outrace them. Not incredibly likely, because they do have 6 power on the board here. Alright, here's White Dragon to tap down the Shepherd. Probably just going to go with Blue Dragon next turn, although then we don't get to Ray of Frost the Sylvan Shepherd because it will untap on our opponent's next turn. Spoils of the Hunt to kill the Roper. Yeah, I'm no longer interested in putting a 5/5 flyer out because we're not going to be really pressuring them much. I guess now we have a Charmed Sleep which can tap down the Shepherd on any turn. I could play Hamapashar and Displacer Beast, and then I can Charmed Sleep Sylvan Shepherd. And I can scry one twice, I guess. That doesn't seem worth it. Or I could gain a life twice, gain 2 life. No, I think I'd rather just get a Ray of Frost out of the way. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana left. So then I can still play one of those 2 cards, play a Displacer Beast here. Before Hamapashar. Or I could contact other plane. I guess our opponent isn't gaining life guaranteed here, so we don't need to chump block. And that's the only thing we would be doing, would be chump blocking, even if they did gain life, because we just chump block a 4/5 with a 3/2. So yeah, just draw more cards. It's probably good. Displacer Beast doesn't exactly pressure them. It has a 3/2 when they're at 22. There's a 3/3 flyer. We'll play our 5/5 flyer next turn. They get to scry 2 here. And they're going to put them somewhere. We'll see soon enough. Both on top. Okay. Not a fan of that. Draw 2 on the contacted plane. There's another blue dragon. That I am a big fan of. Definitely a big fan of just playing blue dragon into blue dragon. There's an owlbear from our opponent. Steadfast Paladin is the draw. Send in the blue dragon. And get another one down. The owlbear's a 1/4, so it doesn't attack in well. If it does, we block with a 2/2 and gain 2 life. Another Lurking Roper. This one is untapped, though. A Hunter's Mark to go ahead and kill our blue dragon, so they get in for 1 damage here. We go down to 9. Sure. We can Ray of Frost that Windseer. And then how do I want to block Owlbear? Do I want to Charmed Sleep Owlbear? I definitely don't want to Charmed Sleep a Lurking Roper that does nothing. I guess it does give it that one-time tap. Tap it when we play the Charmed Sleep, but it doesn't stop it from untapping itself when they gain life. It's 5 mana to use Ray of Frost and Charmed Sleep. We have 9 mana, so we can do both of those and play like a Soul Knife Spy or something. Probably play Hamapashar. Sure. Yeah, let's Ray of Frost the Windseer. Now that it's tapped. Charmed Sleep the Owlbear. Play our Hamapashar so we can double up our room abilities when we venture next turn with Displacer Beast. And just get in for 5 in the sky every turn. Do have to worry a little bit about that Lair of the Hydra. If they spend their turn activating that, that will attack us as a 3/3 right now. It's not that bad. We could double block that. Can't double block the Lurking Roper though, we're just gonna have to let that in. Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Pick up a Hunter's Mark so they can cast it next turn on our blue dragon. Not a fan. And it's uncounterable anyway, even if we did have counterspells in the deck. Well, now what? We can hit for 5, plus we can activate this. We can hit for 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. If we go into the Tomb of Annihilation, we hit for 10 this turn, they go to 2 life. And then maybe die to our flying land next turn. It's banking on them not having another flyer next turn for us to finish it off with Cave of the Frost Dragon. But I think that's our best shot here. Because they have a ton of cards in hand. Like, they're real likely to be able to stabilize if we just keep giving them more time. So let's do everything we can. Let's make it so where we have lethal next turn. So have each player lose 2 life here. So they're at 2, they're dead to 1 attack from our Cave of the Frost Dragon now. So they need to be able to kill our blue dragon and get another flying blocker, or kill our blue dragon and our Cave of the Frost Dragon. And I suppose, I mean, even if they have a way to kill blue dragon and Cave of the Frost Dragon, if they do that all before we untap, we could also just put the Displacer Beast back in our hand and then recast it. But then they can just discard a bunch of cards to the Veils of Fear instead of losing life. So yeah, once we get through the trapped entry, we can't guarantee we're damaging them anymore with the Tomb of Annihilation, so Displacer Beast doesn't give us lethal. It has to be the flyers here. Draw this card off the Bag of Holding. They're digging for something here. Maybe another Hunter's Mark would definitely help them, because they can cast them for only 1 green mana if they use it on a blue creature. Although Cave of the Frost Dragon is a white creature, so that wouldn't kill that one. All right, 2 mana up. Need a reach creature here. All right, we go for the. All right, I was gonna say we're just gonna go for the blocks, be as safe as possible, and they scoop them up here. See the writing on the wall, see that Cave of the Frost Dragon being able to attack for lethal. Alright, 1 win and 1 loss for the white-blue dungeon delving deck. I will keep this hand. We've got both colors, and we have enough blue mana to hit our Charmed Sleep. Got a 1-drop turn 1, which is always fun. Got a Ray of Frost at the ready. It looks like we are against another blue-green deck. So that will just hold a creature tapped, rather than tap it down when we play it. We are taking 2 damage a turn from that little thing. That might be worth tapping down. Feywild Trickster. We've seen that card go off primarily in blue-red decks. That can be scary. Eccentric Apprentice is a pretty great draw here. We will go into the Lost Mine of Fandelver here, but that gives us a much better card to just slam down turn 3 here. Because both Ray of Frost and Charmed Sleep are not good removal spells to use on the Feywild Trickster. The main power of this card is its ability to keep making flyers. You know, I'll actually take the trade here, because I am that scared of that card, I think. Although, I mean, they're hitting for 4 here. Can we outrace them? They hit for 4, we get a 14. We play Arborea Pegasus, attack them for 4, they go to 14. Block 2-2 with a 2-3. We've got these removals afterwards. We could potentially outrace them, but would be difficult. And I think Feywild Trickster is just a really good effect here. It's going to take us quite a while to complete a dungeon, and even when we do, I don't think Eccentric Apprentice's secondary ability is that good. Alright, well now we just have multiple Pegasi. They're big enough to block the Arcane Investigator all day long. So we'll get them out and keep slapping. Pixie Guide here, we'll just play another Pegasi and get in for more damage. turn. And our Borea Pegasus to our hand. Alright. Rhyme Shield Frost Giant. That is Ward 3, correct? So I have to spend 5 mana to Ray of Frost it and 6 mana to Charmed Sleep it. Well, I think I Arborea Pegasus here. Let the Frost Giant hit me, and then I Ray of Frost next turn. Because now I can play Arborea Pegasus and get a Spiked Pit Trap onto the board. Which Spiked Pit Trap we're not going to have the mana to use on a Frost Giant anytime soon. But yeah, let's keep aggressive with all these creatures they can't block. We hit them for 5 a turn, so 2 turns from lethal here. We take 4, go to 12. It looks like we are actually winning the race. Ooh, Monk class. I could play this. I only have 1 white mana. If I had another white mana, I might opt to play Monk class and Pixie Guide this turn. Because I could play both of those and level up the Monk class. Because Monk class makes the second spell only cost 1, so we spend 3 total to cast both of these. And then spend our next 2 to level it up. And then we bounce one of their cards, which is great. But, because I don't have a second white, I don't get to level this up and bounce a card. So I think I'd rather just Ray of Frost here, which is going to cost 5 total to keep that Frost Giant tapped. Alright, well, I mean, I guess they attack us for 6 this turn. If they don't have multiple pump spells, we do still survive, so they have to still find a way to kill our flyers to win the game. Alright, I guess just no interaction for the flyers, so we attack for lethal in the sky next turn, so they scoop them up there. Alright, 2 and 1. Not the craziest game there, not the most exciting game there. I think our opponent just stumbled a bit on their curve. Didn't do a whole ton. Or didn't get to do a whole ton. We're on the play here, but we do need blue mana pretty badly. We have our Cave with Frost Dragon, which I do love. Our Arborea Pegasus turn 4 if we hit any land. White Dragon in the late game. I really like our late game cards here, so I'm gonna go for gold here. We're gonna draw a blue source soon. TM. Ooh, Cloister Gargoyle is a great draw here, so we can scry into that blue mana. It's also a 0/4 blocker to block that 3/1. Stop their early aggression. Delver's Torch. Next turn they'll have the mana to throw that onto the champion, making it a 4/4 so it can attack in. They're going to have a 4/4 Dwarfold champion beating us up and delving into the dungeon. That is absolutely terrifying. I don't have any way to put 4 power out on the board this turn. Could get a little chump blocker here, or I could get a treasure token. Kind of like getting the treasure token for White Dragon to be closer to castable. Yeah, I don't feel like getting a 1/1 Goblin is great here. It looks pretty good, because the 1/1 to block their 3/1 is obviously excellent. But because of that Delver's Torch, they're going to turn that 3/1 into a 4/4. I think it's basically impossible that they choose to throw the torch onto the Ranger's Hawk. Yeah. Even when we don't have the 1/1 to trade with the Dwarfold champion, they still choose to throw the torch onto the champion. Ooh, perfect. White Dragon mana. Sit down, Dwarfhold Champion. And we will start attacking with our flyers as we always do. Uh-oh. That's a lot of attackers. That's a 4-3 and a 1-1 now. On top of their other stuff. Do have the mana to start activating the Cave of the Frost Giants, but I do believe it is better to get more creatures onto this board. Do I want to cast Arborea Pegasus and Pixie Guide? Or do I want to cast Soul Knife Spy and Pixie Guide so I might be able to give the Soul Knife Spy flying and draw an extra card off of it next turn? Kind of want to play Pixie Guide Pegasus here because that could lead into an attack with Cave of the Frost Dragon next turn. They only have the 1/1/1 flyer, so we do get in really aggressively in the sky. I guess the biggest problem with this is we don't have a great blocker for the Swarming Goblins on the ground after this. Whereas the Soul Knife Spy being a 3/2 is great against the 4/3. But I do think just getting the flyers out seems pretty good here. It's an all-out race here. Well, they only kill one of our creatures if we do this double block if they don't have an instant. They kill the 2/3, we kill the 4/3. I mean, theoretically, we have lethal on board with Cave of the Frost Dragon, but that's only if we can kill Ranger's Hawk as well here. So they're pretty much forced into a chump block next turn. It's going to be 2 turns from lethal, pretty much either way, with or without the Pegasus, so I think this double block is worth it. Of course, if they do have the instant speed trick here, it is going to be good for them. Give it extra toughness. And they still only kill one of our cards, we still stop all the damage. That is not the end of the world. Would have been really bad if it was like 3 damage at instant speed. That would have been devastating. But the Paladin Shield is fine. Alright, drain us for a life there. Definitely very helpful in the race. Could attack with all these, I'm at 11. I attack with all these, I hit them for 7. They are dead in the sky. 2 more turns after that. I guess they would actually be dead in 1 more turn because we can activate Cave of the Frost Giant. So we attack with all these. They do draw a card next turn off the Delver's Torch. So if we attack with all this, they chump there and take 3. They're at 9. Next turn they take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if you add the Cave of the Frost Dragon. So yeah, either way, even if they save the chump for next turn, they're dead to 2 attacks from all 3 flyers. So I kind of like doing that and then playing Soul Knife Spy here. Or just holding the mana up for surprise block, but yeah, none of our stuff blocks well here. It's just going to be chump blocks, really. Kind of have to go all in here. And hope that they don't draw into an answer for flyers. If I contact the other plane here, I have 2 mana, so if I draw like a Ray of Frost, I could cast it. I'm at 11 life. They have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have 14 power on the board, so if they kill Cloister Gargoyle, I'm mega dead. But if I can chump block 1 creature, I survive. So in order to survive a removal spell, I think I should play Soul Knife Spy out. Because this way I survive through a removal spell, otherwise I wouldn't. Uh-oh, is this just like a buff the whole field spell here? I mean, either way, they have me dead in 2 turns. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to 1 life. That leaves me dead to a ton of things, so I'll go for the double chump block here. They are dead on board, but if they play a flyer... I mean, they need to play a flyer and kill one of our flyers because we can activate our Cave of the Frost Dragon. Red dragon puts us to 1, blocks white dragon, and they'd take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whew, that was a race and a half there. That, I believe, puts us to 3 and 1. But maybe just 2 and 1. We have had some long games with this deck. Nope, 3 and 1 it is for white-blue. It's kind of just white-blue flyers. It was supposed to be white-blue dungeon delving, venturing through the dungeons, trying to complete them for our Cloister Gargoyles and double up our triggers with Hama Pishar, but it's mainly just ended up a lot of blue-white flyer stuff, trying to win with our evasive little skybirds. Whew, that was a heck of a game. And this hand is pretty excellent. Especially against red, and especially when we draw a 2-drop creature, so our curve is even better. Our curve actually was not great in the initial hand, but just a lot of cards that I like in the hand, which is always great. But yeah, Ray of Frost is going to be great since we are playing against red here. I'm very happy to see that. Hulking Bugbear. Yeah, I'm just going to play that Ray of Frost right now, because definitely not going to cast it this turn, because I'm going to curve out with more life gain. And then the turn after, I'm going to want to cast Contact Other Plane. So just to stay really aggressive here, push our advantage, we'll tap down that Hulking Bugbear. Alright, and here I believe I will be just drawing cards. They block, but we still gain life, so it's worth the attack here. Scry 2, draw 2. Charm, Sleep, and Pegasus are both fantastic draws. Man, this is a hand that we drew really well to just absolutely capitalize on being on the play. So there's a Rust Monster from our opponent, a 2/1 First Striker on the ground. We have 6 mana, so we can play Charm Sleep and Eccentric Apprentice, which I do like doing here. I think they'll go for a tap down with the Monk. So if they go for a tap down with the Monk, I think I want to tap down the Monk over anything else here, because we're going to have a Pegasus coming down next turn to give the Steadfast Paladin flying. Like, I could tap down the Rust Monster with Charm Sleep here. That way, if they tap down the Pegasus, the Steadfast Paladin still gets in. So it gets more damage in this turn, but I think it gets more damage in overall if we Charm Sleep the Monk itself. So let's just go to combat first, make him do it. Make him spend the mana, so we know they don't have, like, the 3 damage instant speed spell or something here. So yeah, that stops us from attacking with either of them, which they could have done regardless. If we cast Charm Sleep, they just respond by tapping down Pegasus there. Yep, I think we go for lethal flying damage here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 flying damage right there. And then we turn our 2/2 into a 3/3 flyer with Arborea Pegasus. I don't think I'm going to be casting Pixie Guide here, because I even have a Cave of the Frost Dragon to activate, so I'm going to get rid of that. Look for something bigger. I was trying to say bigger and better at the same time. Flame Skull can't block, so I believe that's just game. Dancing Sword, they can equip it. Ooh, actually really smart. Oh, alright, well they scoop them up. They're in a really bad position either way. I was expecting the Mega Mind play there of they equip the Dancing Sword to the Rust Monster and then oh wait, no, they can't kill the Rust Monster. Yeah, I had it backwards. Dancing Sword becomes a flyer when the equipped creature dies, not when the sword itself dies. So even if they can sacrifice the sword to the Rust Monster, it doesn't do anything. So yeah, there's 2 things that don't block flyers. They see there's 5 damage of flying on the board. There's 3 more with the Cave of the Frost Dragon. So that'll be 4 and 1 here. Already above average with this deck. I'm very happy to see that. pretty much my first time drafting blue-white in this format, I think. I could be wrong. I have drafted the format quite a bit. So I could just be forgetting a bad deck that ended up doing like 1-3 or 2-3 or something. That is actually pretty likely. First time drafting blue-white and having it work well, so I didn't think this looked that great on paper, but it has been running pretty hot here. So I'm happy to see that. I'm going to keep this hand. It's got a good turn 3, turn 4 play. Maybe get that Soul Knife Spy, send it in the sky. Then grab a Plains with the Evolving Wilds. And there's Forest for turn. So we are against white-green. White-green has a lot of life gain synergies. White-green and blue, I would actually be really excited to be against like a full-on 3 or 4 color deck here. That'd be pretty cool. Would be my first time. I have played against some 3 color decks, mainly just 2 colors splashing in a third. Which I would expect this to probably be something like that here. So I am going to end up just going for Hama Pashar and throwing out my Spiked Pit Trap here instead of the Pegasus, because we're not really getting any extra damage from the Pegasus's Enter the Battlefield effect there. And with nothing on the board, a 2-3 on the ground is as good as a 2-3 flyer. Although here they go. Now they have a Reach creature, so I guess with Reach creatures on their board, a 2-3 on the ground is as good as a 2-3 flyer. Whenever they cast a creature or planeswalker, they venture into the dungeon once per turn, and whenever they complete a dungeon, create a 2-2 wolf. That seems absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that's terrifying. We don't have any way to permanently kill that in this deck, I think. I mean, we have Spiked Pit Trap. It only has Ward 1, so I guess we could just do that right now. They can make a copy of it, but it's legendary, so it doesn't work with the Talisman. I like holding the treasure for Blue Dragon here, but I also like stopping them from venturing at all. Yeah, I think I'd rather just stop them from venturing whatsoever and killing that right now. And luckily the Spiked Pit Trap did give us the reimbursement, and gave us the treasure right back, so we can still cast Blue Dragon next turn. That was a pretty lucky roll there. Alright, opponent has 6 mana, so if they play a big if they play a big creature there, copy with Talisman, that'll be devastating, but also if they play a Planeswalker, that'll be pretty devastating.
I'm reading.
They draw 2 cards a turn now. We can only hit that for 2. It gains 2 loyalty. It has a +2 ability. Oh yeah, this is very, very, very bad. They can create dog tokens that have power toughness equal to twice the cards in hand. So if they make one right now, it'll be an 8/8, because they're going to draw a card for a turn and then they make a dog, and then bam, there's an 8/8 on the board. They can then equip and attack with it the turn after. They have like 2 10/10s. If they just keep casting nothing. We might get absolutely slapped by this, but there's a chance. We can play a big flying creature. Blue Dragon can hit this twice, and that'll be 10 total. So hopefully 2 attacks from Blue Dragon will finish that off if they don't have a way to deal with it. Yeah, Mordenkainen is a scary planeswalker here. Yeah, I was going to say, even if they just keep drawing 2 cards, the amount of value they're getting off that is going to be pretty overwhelming. Inspiring Bard, gain a few life when it comes into play. And it's a 3/3. If they can't deal with any of our creatures, alright. If they can't deal with any of our creatures, here's where we slam down our Borea Pegasus to just get that Planeswalker right off the board. And then we get to start attacking them for 5 a turn after this.
You didn't win. I chose to leave.
And I'm going to go ahead and scry 2 here with our Lost Mine of Phandelver. And we'll keep that on top so we can draw a couple cards next turn. We have more than enough mana to do that and potentially cast something that we've drawn into. We'll see what they choose to copy with their Trickster's Talisman. Wouldn't be that worried if they just copy one of these. I guess they don't have to copy it though, so they could just use it as a +1/+1 buff. Make one of those a 3/4 Vigilance or a 4/4. A 4/4 it is. I think I just take it, go to 16 here. Do I take the Sylvan Shepherd damage? Displacer Beast is a great mana sink when we have Hama Pashar out, so I think we're supposed to take it all, but it's close because we have like a good draw spell coming up here, so we're not going to use Displacer Beast as a mana sink next turn, and if we draw into anything good, we're probably not going to use it for a while. So yeah, I don't think I trade with the Shepherd, we just try to soak up that damage. Take 4. Possible we're not supposed to block at all, just in case they have some kind of trick, but I think we're good. I suppose we're about to find out. Yeah, down to 16. They may copy their Inspiring Bard if they wish, but then the Talisman is forever gone. They just have a couple 3/3s instead. Alright, another 3/3 it is. Gain some more life. Give them some more breathing room against these flyers, and there's a great mana sink from our opponent. Gretchen Titchwillow, 4 mana to draw a card and put a land from hand onto the battlefield. So she's a mana sink that helps pay for herself. Alright, so I'm just going to draw cards right now in case I hit another white source here. I'm going to do this before I play my island, because I'd rather play the second white source than the 7th blue source. Yeah, I think I draw both of these. I can cast Eccentric Apprentice to get another flyer out and venture into the dungeon. With Hama Pashar, that'll be 2 1/1s or 2 treasure tokens. Probably just grab 2 1/1s here. Yep, let's get another flyer out, get a couple 1/1s. So we have chump blockers on the ground. We keep sending it in the sky. They have 3 mana up. No response to our combat, so they're down to 19. And we pass the turn. Another land for our opponent, so they are a bit flooded out, but again, they do have a great mana sink here, Gretchen Titchwillow, to draw them more cards, even if they stay flooded here. So I am once again going to cast a Contact Other Plane here, so I don't know how much I love keeping Hama Pashar and Displacer Beast around when I could be just stopping these 3/3s from hitting me, and I'm at 16, so they are really hitting me here. Although with these goblins, I can just make a couple chump blocks here. Yeah, let's just make a couple chump blocks. Actually, I can permanently kill the 2/3 at the cost of a 1/1, so we take 3. We take 3, but we get to kill the Sylvan Shepherd at the cost of a 1/1 goblin. But yeah, I don't think I get rid of Displacer Beast still. Okay, I was going to say, I'd be surprised if they held on to a combat trick this long, but it was definitely really well played if they did, because last turn they had Arborea Pegasus they could have killed with a combat trick. So I expect Hama Pashar is safe. Oh, they just have... Oh, maybe they did that the wrong way. Okay. Alright, I still feel like that was the wrong way. Because they could have killed Hamapashar and the Goblin and still not lost any creatures and shot the Flyer. That was a little weird use of those two cards, but it still works out pretty well for them. We'll draw a couple cards here. Well, luckily we do have a mana sink of the Displacer Beast here. So send it in the sky. Now I really have to think about making good blocks. Because I take like 6 damage if I don't block at all next turn. So maybe I just hold back. So I can double block on the ground here. And go for these Displacer Beast plays. Next turn, Displacer Beast does hit the storeroom, which is really big. So we can have like a 4-5 on blocks. I think I send in here still. We just take all the damage next turn. Go pretty low here. Go to 7 life. But then we get to hit the storeroom this turn, which is absolutely massive. Ultra Guard Rangers are a really big draw for them. They can block a flyer with that. And that's 2 more attackers. Alright, let's get into the storeroom here. With those 3/3s, I'd rather have 2 3/4s than anything else. We have 6 mana afterwards, so we can pick up Displacer Beast. We can pick up and cast it again if I play a Plains instead of the Cave of the Frost Dragon. And then I get to draw 2 cards. Probably better than getting Cave of the Frost Dragon out tapped here. And then I might have to just trade Displacer Beast for Ultra Guard Ranger if they go for like an all-out attack here, because I'm getting really low on life. That's what I'm talking about, some more creatures there. Ooh, we've completed the dungeon now, so we can start turning things into 1/1 flyers at the beginning of combat on our turn only. Dang, so I wish I could do that during their turn to just make their biggest attacker a 1/1 every turn. Yeah, that is not particularly great for us here. Opponent has enough mana to draw 2 cards a turn now off of Gretchen. Certainly not ideal. They've drawn 1, and now they're thinking on the second one. They must have something castable for 4 or less. Yep, Priest of Ancient Lore, and they just go for it here. I think they're just trying to go wide enough to break in for the last bit of damage, and a Null Hunter is the draw off the Priest. This is not good. Alright, I do have a Ranger's Hawk to go with Hamapashar now. I definitely have to, like, I can't just take 7. I have to trade something here. Feel like it's better to leave as many flyers out as possible, but Displacer Beast is a good mana sink. Maybe we trade the Eccentric Apprentice. We definitely don't trade a 3/4. Yeah, I guess our opponent doesn't have a lot of flyers, so our flyers are mainly just to hit them, and it's going to be a long time before we can hit them again. Definitely can't afford to go to 3 life against this many creatures that could attack us. Yeah, we'll trade the 2/2. Steadfast Paladin's a pretty great draw. 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We have triple white. We have more than enough mana to cast all of these. So I think that is what we do. And then we play the tapped Cave of the Frost Dragon for another creature here. Don't think I will want to block with Displacer Beast, because next turn is when I'm dumping all the mana into the mana sink of that. They have no reach creatures or flyers here. We have 3, 4, 5 blockers. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers. Yeah, we can afford the attack with the Displacer Beast. We definitely don't want to block with it, so we'll send that in there. Gotta chip in with some damage somewhere if we want to find a way to close this game out. Because if we just let Gretchen keep doing her thing, they're going to demolish us. We have to keep hitting them as much as we can. Try to close it out before they draw too many creatures. Alright, just double Gretchen this turn. The Celestial Unicorn. Very good with the Sylvan Shepherd, so if that Sylvan Shepherd attacks here, we're killing it, whatever it takes. But I mean, I guess we have 3/4s, so it doesn't take much. Ooh, White Dragon. Oh, that's actually great. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 mana. We have enough to play White Dragon and activate Cave of the Frost Dragon, right? 6 + 5? Oh my god. Yeah, White Dragon's real good here. What is their scariest attacker? Their scariest attacker right now? Just the Sylvan Shepherd, because it gains a life. Sort of? Maybe Null Hunter? I guess the Unicorn could be a 4/3 if they attack with Sylvan Shepherd as well. Sure, we'll just hit the Unicorn here, but what do I attack with here is the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers. I can definitely attack with one creature. I can definitely attack with Cave of the Frost Dragon. They're at 17. We can send these two in for sure. Hit for 6, put them to 11. If I attack with the other two flyers, we hit for 6, 7, 8, 9. We hit for 9, put them to 8 life. With a White Dragon out, we definitely have lethal the turn after if they don't find something really good. So if we attack with all the flyers here, we still have 4 creatures to block with, one of which has lifelink. We block the 4 biggest creatures. We block there, there, and there. We gain 2 life and take 4. We go to 9 minus 4, we go to 5. They have to draw really well. I think we go to where we have lethal with White Dragon next turn. Next turn we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 flying damage in this guy. So I mean 13 coming at them this guy next turn. We only have to put them to 4 life then. I mean, we only have to deal 4 damage to them then. So hit for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably hold Ranger's Hawk back then. Just I don't want to go absolutely overboard here. Leave just an extra chump blocker just in case. So this way we hit for 8. They go to 9 life. They gain 1 to... I guess they could gain 5 on Sylvan Shepherd if they're really lucky. You know, I'm going to go all out here. If we die because of this attack, we die because of this attack. But I feel like it's possible we have to make a really big attack like that, because now, like, if they draw a card and they draw removal for White Dragon and make a big attack, I want this to be lethal even if they kill White Dragon on our crackback. Of course, now they could draw into something that gives like +2/+2 to the whole field and completely kill us. But we'd be in a really bad spot if they had that regardless. But I suppose, yeah, holding back like 1 Ranger's Hawk might save us if that's what they draw into. Alright, just double draw. They've got 3 mana here. Do we just get there with flyers again? Blue-white flyers, the classic limited game plan. Just a dancing sword, only 1 mana left. They can equip the sword onto something. 2 mana left, I suppose. But we've got lethal in the sky next turn. They've got no reach or flyers left. We got rid of the Ultra Guard Ranger, fought through the Planeswalker. Of course, killed the first reach creature immediately. So they did have ways to block flyers in the past, but Not anymore. All right, so send in the Sylvan Shepherd. If we kill the Sylvan Shepherd, they can turn it into a flyer. So we actually don't kill the Shepherd here. We're hoping they don't roll a 20. All right, gain 2 life. They're still dead in the sky, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Even if we don't activate the cave, they're still dead in the sky. So we'll gain life there. Block a 3-3 with a 3-4. Block a 3-3 with a 3-2. Block a 3-3 with a 4-4. All right, still at 5. Attack with everything in the sky here. They have 1 mana up. Should do it. All right. Another really close game there. Both of us had some pretty solid mana sinks towards the late game there with the venturing with Hama Pishar, and of course our opponent with Gretchen drawing multiple cards. So 5 wins here, 5-1. Does seem like where I've been going a lot lately. It was just like 5-3. I suppose that was just last draft, but I did record last draft right before this one in the same recording session, so I'm still thinking about that blue-red dice rolling deck that we had in yesterday's video for all of you. But that was 5-3, and we're at least 5-3 here, so doing pretty well overall. Let's see what we got with our blue-white flyers. Well, we do have turn 2 Steadfast Paladin. That's always a great start. We're on the play. If we draw a 3rd land, Eccentric Apprentice is a great turn 3 play. Gotta keep it here, definitely hoping to draw more lands in the near future. But if we do, the hand's excellent. If we don't, we stumble a little bit. But as soon as we hit 4 mana, we get to have an Arborea Pegasus getting in for more lifelink. And of course, Contact Other Plane, drawing us multiple cards, should help us draw into the lands we need to play our really big cards. So the hand's definitely not worth a mulligan, even if it is a bit risky. Alright, Ray of Frost. They are playing red, so we can use that on any red creature. Tap it immediately. Not good against the Clever Conjurer, though, so we'll probably have to just use it on the Conjurer itself. Genie wins here. Scries a bit when it comes into play. Nat 20, so they scry 3. I guess it's not a natural 20, it's a 20 with an advantage. But the first roll was a 20, so I'll call that a nat 20. I guess natural 20 just means it's a 20 before you add any modifiers to it. If you roll a 20, even if you rolled with an advantage, I think that still counts as a natural 20. I'm not completely up to date on my D&D terminology, but I think that would count. So Ray of Frost the Conjurer, because that's the only thing we're going to be able to Ray of Frost. And we do get the Eccentric Apprentice, so we get the scry off of that to help hit the 4th mana. And it does help, it jigs that Arborea Pegasus out of the way. Magic Missile, ooh, that's a big one. 2 for 1 us there. Charmed Sleep now. Definitely have to slow them down. We've got nothing else to do here, nothing on board. 5 mana from our opponent now. And a Swarming Goblins with advantage here. So they get 11, they get 2 1/1s. It's gonna be painful. Cloister Gargoyle gets us a treasure token. So we can play at least one of our 4 mana cards next turn. And if we draw our land, we can play one of them and keep the treasure token to help cast White Dragon and hopefully stabilize off that. Alright, this is going to be painful here. Down to 7. Mordenkainen, I thought I already killed you. Mordenkainen's back for more. I think Mordenkainen's going to seal the deal on us this game, though.
Maintaining balance requires
We definitely are not in the position to attack that and get that off the board. And now, even if we find a way to stabilize through all these creatures attacking us, which, honestly, I don't think we will. I think we'd die even if our opponent didn't cast Mordenkainen here. But now, even if we somehow do stabilize from this stuff, Mordenkainen makes sure our opponent is drawing 3 cards a turn total. One in the draw step and 2 off Mordenkainen. They do have to keep putting 1 back on bottom, but they're essentially getting to keep the 2 best cards out of their top 3 every turn.
the entire multiverse is
So just keep throwing a land on the bottom. And that's even if they don't choose to make a bunch of dogs to kill us with. So, yeah, this game was 6 definite loss here. Go to 1. Don't even have the white dragon mana here, unfortunately. Definitely punished for the 2-lander here. Opponent had an aggressive curve and tops it off with Mordenkainen to seal the deal. So 5 and 2 now. So let's head on into round 8, which could be the final round. If we lose this one again, we will have another 5-3 on our hands, which is fine. We're up in gyms and get 4 free packs out of it. So it's a great deal overall if you get a 5-win run in Premier Draft. It's a solid deal if you get a 4-win run, because then you get almost as many gyms as it costs. You get 1,400, and you get to keep everything you opened and open a few more packs. So even a 4-win Premier Draft run I'm always happy with. So 5, just got a little gravy on top. We're doing solid. And this is a very solid hand because we can cast everything in the hand with the lands currently available. Got a turn 1 Secret Door. We've got really great blocks off of that. A 0-4 on turn 1 should be able to hold down the fort for a while. And once we hit the late game, it gives us something to do with our mana. Of course, turn 2 Steadfast Paladin, always sweet in this format. And our opponent starts with red and a Boots of Speed, so Ray of Frost should be solid in this matchup. There's a Hobgoblin Captain. Well, they throw a Boots of Speed onto that, and that can attack into the Secret Door, but I can play our Steadfast Paladin here, and we can trade with Hobgoblin Captain. Unless they play another Captain and throw Boots of Speed onto that one. Alright, looks like they go for improvised weaponry, get a treasure token, use the treasure to slap the boots onto the Hobgoblin Captain, I would expect. Unless they're on 2 colors and need their second color with that treasure, which might be the case here. So yet again, I don't think that I want to Ray of Frost this 3-1 yet, because they could have bigger creatures later. So I'll just get the Eccentric Apprentice down, scry a bit, try to hit our 4th mana. And this can trade with Hobgoblin Captain if they don't trigger pack tactics. There's Hoarding Ogre. That's going to be a 4-3 when it's equipped with the Boots of Speed. So that is a better target for Ray of Frost. I guess debatably, because that's going to be a first striker every time it attacks eventually. If they attack with both of these, they do have pack tactics triggered. So they throw boots onto that, attack with both, and I don't have a great block. Yeah, maybe now is when we Ray of Frost, because we've got the long game for sure against an aggressive red deck. If they just throw the boots onto the Hoarding Ogre, that's also just bad for us. So do we Ray of Frost the Ogre or the Captain? Probably the Ogre. And I guess I can wait until they equip them. Or at least wait until they go to combat. But if I get them to spend the mana on equip, that's even better. Alright, equip on the Hobgoblin Captain, sure. Now they're going to combat, we'll tap down Hoarding Ogre. And we will take 4 here. But now the Hobgoblin Captain won't have first strike for now. So we could trade it with our flyer. Yeah, I mean, I probably just shouldn't have attacked with the flyer last turn because I should have held it back to hold back that 4 damage and then trade here. Because, yeah, now I just want to play Hamapashar. And then I just want to trade on blocks. But if they get another creature out, they do have boots of speed to give haste. So if they get another creature out, they do trigger pack tactics. Alright. Attack with a couple first strikers here. Kick in the door. That gives first strike and a +1/+1 counter there. They only have 1 mana up after this. As much as I hate giving up on value, in this matchup I think it's correct to let them kill Hamapashar to get a Hobgoblin Captain off the board. So we'll get the 4/2 off the board. Because that one's permanently a 4/2. If they put the equipment on it, it's a 5/2. Now, we can double block first strikers, so we could play Soul Knife Spy here. Cloister Gargoyle, where are we going here? Oh, we could get a 1/1 and double block with a 1/1 and a 2/2. That's not enough toughness to beat the first strike. We need 5 toughness to win in the first strike battle. We can't get that. Even if I play Soul Knife Spy, that's only 2 toughness. So yeah, I guess we're not playing Soul Knife Spy here. I guess we are just playing like Cloister Gargoyle. I don't think we're contacting other plane. Maybe we are, to get the mana for Blue Dragon coming up. Could just get a treasure token here. Now let's draw some cards, I think. Hold back the Apprentice in case they don't have another creature. It's possible they're stuck off of a second color, and that's where their creatures are in hand. In which case we'll gladly take the trade for the Hobgoblin Captain. Again, I think it was a pretty big mistake attacking with the Eccentric Apprentice earlier in the game. It's very clear at this point. We should just be playing to survive to the long game. And that should have been clear earlier on to me. Alright, well, we get to block one of them and just take 4, so we go to 8, which isn't ideal, but we stop some damage without losing a creature. Alright, contact other plane, let's see what we draw. You get to scry 2, White Dragon. Oh, I want the White Dragon so bad, but I need mana so bad too. We have a Cloister Gargoyle to get a treasure token. I'm going to draw 1 blind card here, and then I'm going to draw another blind card on my next turn. So if one of those 2 is land, then that gets us to White Dragon, because Cloister Gargoyle can spit out a treasure token. I think I'm going to keep the White Dragon, because it's such a great tool to stabilize. Alright, thank goodness that 3rd card there was a land, because now we get to Cloister Gargoyle and Pixie Guide, which is wonderful. Pixie Guide plus Apprentice, that's 5 toughness. So I can double block one of the first strikers with that. Alright, we get the treasure token off this, so I know I can cast White Dragon next turn, keep one of their creatures tapped, and then have a 4/4 on the board. If I top deck a basic land, that's absolutely beautiful, because then I can play White Dragon without using the treasure token, so I can play Blue Dragon with the treasure token the turn after that. And that's where we really stabilize, is if we start casting these dragons, they will absolutely annihilate these little goblins. In a very flavorful manner. Alright, a Hoarding Ogre it is. No mana to equip it. Easy trade if they go for this attack here. So they have 4 first strike damage, but they have 4 to Pixie Guide, or they have 4 to Apprentice. The other one deals 1 damage, kills it, and survives. We take no damage here, and we kill a Hobgoblin Captain. I'm very happy with this all around. And we did naturally draw the mana for the White Dragon. That's so good here. Keep that Hoarding Ogre tapped. Now we can even attack with Eccentric Apprentice Although, now in order to kill Hobgoblin Captain, we would have to block with a White Dragon at a 0/4, so I think I still keep back the Apprentice in case they play another creature with the boots, making the Hobgoblin Captain pack tactics go off. I am very happy to have a 2/2 untapped here against this little menace dude as well. Just play it really, really safe here. Now we know we get to Blue Dragon next turn. Whittle down their power for a turn, which is beautiful. Makes it so they don't have good attacks into our 0/4s. And then we can even just start attacking with a White Dragon in the sky by doing that. Don't even have to spend the treasure token here, so Blue Dragon it is. I think I definitely want to... We're going to have a 5/5 to block things with, so... Yeah, make the 3 power creatures as weak as possible, specifically the one that could get first strike, and then make the 2/2 the next weakest one. So we attack for 6 in the sky there. Next turn we attack for 11 in the sky. And we can use Dark Pool to finish the game next turn if we venture into the Dark Pool. We attack for 11 plus 1 more, that's 12. So if we survive through this turn with all of our creatures unscathed, we could have lethal on the spot. It would be really hard for them to find a way to kill us here, because even if they can get past our creatures with Menace and First Strike and all that, all their creatures only have 1 power thanks to the Blue Dragon for the turn. That Lightning Breath, very, very huge here. Usually one of my least favorite of the Dragon Enter the Battlefield effects, but wow, did it pan out very well in this matchup. Just making it very unlikely they do anything explosive here in terms of damage dealt to us. Another Hobgoblin Captain. They can throw the boots onto that, and then they do have a 4/1. First Strike Haste if they trigger pack tactics. They have 2 mana up. If they have 2 mana up here, I don't know if I'm going to want to go for the lethal attack next turn, which is the sad part, because then they could have the 2 mana instant speed damage spell to kill one of my flyers. And if I just go all out for lethal, then they can kill me on the crackback pretty easily. Yeah, this makes it real sketchy here. I guess I can see if it holds at all if I go to combat, but I always feel like that's a little bit of a skeevy way to try to figure it out. Well, let's see. It went straight to combat. I'm just going in. I hate that Arena gives you that information of whether or not they have something, like when you go to combat and it doesn't stop for them. But, I mean, each player gets that information about their opponent, so sometimes you gotta use it. But yeah, that's a game where if I weren't playing on Arena, I might be too scared to go for the all-out attack there and just die because I didn't. But, yeah, I mean, I feel a little grimy on that one. I probably would have went for the all-out attack in the end. If I thought about it for a while, but yeah, because if they had the 2 mana 3 damage removal spell, if they didn't top deck it literally that turn, they would have used it probably a long time ago to crack in with their field better. But that does lead us to 6-2. This is the final boss here, round 9, win or lose. This is the last game of Magic for today. And we are keeping a risky hand because we have no blue mana, but Cloister Gargoyle scries us. We'll scry anything that isn't an island to the bottom. Oh yeah, definitely scry a Charmed Sleep to the bottom. Go ahead and get a little bit of life gain here. Go to 22. He's got Pegasus next turn, even if we don't hit an island by then, to get in for 3 lifelink in the sky. We do hit an island, but I think I still want to cast Pegasus here, so I'm just going to do that. Because we have pretty solid blockers. So we may as well start chipping away at our opponent. Start putting some pressure on them in the sky here. We'll have a Cave of the Frost Dragon attacking them soon enough. Here I think I just hold up all my mana to Ray of Frost if need be, but probably just to contact other plane to draw some cards. This is pretty suspicious. Alright, they were just wanting to go through their turn as fast as possible. Hired Hexblade is the play. Let's contact a plane. See what we draw. We do get the scry off, which is beautiful. I kind of like another blue source, in case we draw like a blue dragon or something. But I also don't need it immediately. I guess I do need it to play Hamapashar and hold up Ray of Frost to be safe, so yeah. Sure, I'll draw into it. We'll see what we hit on the next draw. Another Ray of Frost. That's pretty good in this matchup. They are playing red. So I could send in the Flyer in the Sky, hit him for 5 this turn, but it's probably better to get some more blocks out and play it nice and safe with double Ray of Frost in hand. Just keep chipping away a little per turn here. And they just scoop them up, just stuck on mana there. They don't want to slowly die to a Flyer, so a little bit of a bummer of a last game there. Wasn't much of a game. But, hey, that leads us into 7-2, another 7-win run. That always feels incredible. 2,200 gems and 6 packs. I will absolutely take it. Let's see what we get out of our bonus packs here as we end the video. Zalto Fire Giant Duke. Really cool, really fun card. Not particularly great, because it is a 3 toughness card for 5 mana, so it's pretty easy to trade down, but Westgate Regent, however, is a fantastic limited card. When this hits your opponent, it doubles its power toughness, which is insane. It also has a ward ability to make your opponent discard a card, so they have to 2-for-1 themselves to remove it. Fantastic card there, as is Nadar, another absolute bomb, venturing every time it attacks, and once it completes the dungeon, your whole field gets +1/+1. Flumph is a bit of a dud. I tried to play Flumph once in a controlling deck, and it did not pan out well at all. The idea was that, well, my cards are in general worth more than theirs when we hit the late game, because my big cards are gonna be worth, 2 of their small 2-mana cards, but no, Flumph is just not playable, unfortunately. Mythic Rare Wildcard. Just whatever the best Mythic Rare in the set is, that was that. Varus is another card. I think this card would really go off if it stays on the board, but every time I've seen it, I've killed it immediately. So not much to say on that. And the final pack, Dritzt Duerden. I have played against this once. I think I've never played it myself. Well, yeah, this is my first copy. This card's explosive. Even if it gets killed immediately, you leave behind a 4/1 trample. Or even if they kill the 4/1 trample, you get a 3/3 out of it, so it takes like multiple removal spells to clear this off the board. If either half doesn't die, they're super solid, and if the main part doesn't die, it's absolutely explosive. A 3/3 double striker that keeps getting bigger, potentially. A lot of really explosive limited rares in those packs, so some really cool stuff to see in the pack openings to end the video. But that will end today's draft, today's video as a whole. If you watched all the way to the end, as always, thank you very much for watching. As always, thanks for all the support, all of the positive comments, and just comments in general, just constructive comments. And as always, I'll be back again pretty soon as I can with some more Magic Arena. I know that last week I did miss on a few videos. I don't quite do the daily videos anymore. I do get quite busy, but I do as many videos as I can. So I'll I'll be doing another draft soon enough. You won't miss me for long. Yeah, I think that's it. Wow, that was probably the worst outro in a while. I stuck far from the script in that one, but I'll see you all again very soon for some more Magic Arena.